After the CEO's girlfriend found out that I voluntarily gave my design, which took half a year to complete, to her white moonlight, past love, for a competition, she suddenly agreed to marry me and have children, despite having always been afraid of marriage and childbearing. When the white moonlight found out, he was so angry he went crazy, pretending to have a depressive episode and threatening to destroy his own hands with sulfuric acid. My girlfriend immediately panicked and not only gave him my position as design director, but also accompanied him to the North Pole to see the aurora borealis, fulfilling his dream, while they ate and lived together inseparably throughout the journey. It wasn't until 3 months later that my girlfriend nonchalantly explained to me, "Aja and I have been busy participating in competitions and seeking inspiration all this time. Unlike you, who just sits in the office getting paid to do nothing, designing things that are completely unoriginal. I think you're just creatively exhausted, which is why you're jealous of his talent." As I looked at my girlfriend's increasingly visible pregnant belly, I wasn't angry at all, but simply smiled calmly and continued preparing for our wedding. My girlfriend thought I was still in the dark, smiling as she said she had overcome her psychological barriers and was eager to help me continue the family line. But what she didn't know was that although the wedding would proceed as scheduled, I had already chosen someone else as the bride. When I saw my wife Su Jiao again, she was already holding the champion trophy from the national design competition. As soon as she and her crush Lu Jia entered the company, everyone stopped their work and rushed forward to compliment them on their tiring journey. Watching this scene, I could only find it laughable. They had submitted my design draft that took me half a year to complete for the competition, yet acted as if they had worked so hard themselves. But I suppose they were tired after spending so much time outside on their honeymoon. During these 3 months, Lu Jia frequently showed me photos and videos of him and Su Jiao living together and would secretly turn on voice recordings while flirting with Su Jiao, letting me hear firsthand when she said I wasn't as good as him. At first, I was indeed so angry that I questioned my entire existence. But now, I feel completely calm. With Su Jiao's return, it's the perfect time to hand her my resignation letter. "Ms. Su, this is for you." Before Su Jiao could speak, Lu Jia asked with a smirk, "Brother Gucheng, publicly giving gifts to bribe Ms. Su? That doesn't look very good, does it?" Immediately, the colleagues present shot me disgusted looks and said irritably, "When Director Lu first joined the company, Gucheng had the strongest objections and constantly targeted him. Now that Director Lu has won the championship, his face must be slapped hard. He's just using these tactics to barely hang on at the company." Hearing my colleagues' usual mockery and sarcasm, I remained unfazed. Su Jiao and I had been together for 6 years, yet she never officially acknowledged our relationship. She never used couple profile pictures with me, never posted about our anniversaries on social media, and was especially cold and harsh toward me at the company. My colleagues, unaware of my relationship with Su Jiao, thought she disliked me, so they isolated and ostracized me to please her. As for why I have issues with Lu Jia, it's because he's the so-called design director. Not only does he not understand basic design logic, but he also uses his position as Su Jiao's cherished one to meddle with others' designs, arbitrarily changing client requirements, causing quite a few problems. Yet Su Jiao adamantly protects him. Gradually, everyone began to suspect they might be secretly married. Nearby, Su Jiao also thought I was going to give a gift and frowned, saying, "Gucheng, rather than playing these little tricks, you'd be better off learning seriously from Lu Jia. Don't think that because you're a senior employee with more experience, I wouldn't dare to." Before Su Jiao could finish, I handed her my prepared resignation letter and work badge. "No need for all that trouble. I'm here to resign." Hearing this, Su Jiao looked shocked. "You want to resign?" Seeing her reaction, I was somewhat surprised. I wanted to quit 3 months ago, but at that time I still had clients that hadn't been properly handed over. I have my professional ethics and responsibility to my clients. It wasn't until last week when all my projects were properly handed over that I sent my resignation application to Su Jiao online, and she approved it. Now she's acting like she knows nothing about it. While I was thinking, I noticed Lu Jia's smug face, and I pieced together what had happened. Su Jiao must have given her phone to Lu Jia. What's ridiculous is that I don't even know what her phone password is, yet she could directly hand her phone to Lu Jia and even entrust him with the authority to make personnel decisions. Before I could speak, Lu Jia said with fake sincerity, "Manager Su, Gucheng must be resigning because I took his valuable competition spot earlier." After all, if a senior colleague like Gucheng had participated in the competition, he definitely would have won more impressively than me. How about I give the trophy to Gucheng? As long as the company makes a name for itself, I don't mind who gets the championship. A look of sympathy immediately appeared on Su Jiao's face, and she comforted him. "Lu Jia, you're now the national champion. You're so excellent. How could Gucheng compare to you? If it were him, whether he could even qualify would be another matter entirely." As she spoke, Su Jiao didn't forget to give me a glare. "Gucheng, You voluntarily gave up your competition qualification back then. Now that Luja has won the championship and is in the spotlight, you're jealous, aren't you? I couldn't help but smile bitterly. Su Jiao was truly good at telling blatant lies. 3 months ago, Luja insisted on participating in the design competition to prove his abilities, pestering Su Jiao to make me give up my spot. I didn't want to argue and give her the cold shoulder anymore, so I agreed. But afterward, she was afraid that Luja would be discouraged if he didn't place well, so she asked me to give him my design draft that I had worked hard on for half a year. When I disagreed, she decided to separate from me and moved out of our home. Su Jiao had poor health, and I was worried she couldn't take good care of herself, so I had no choice but to compromise and give in. Yet she wasn't grateful at all, and even thought I was being envious. I didn't bother to explain further, and simply said, Miss Su is right. Luja is now the national champion, while I'm just a small designer who can't compare. Let Director Liu lead the company to greater glory in the future. Hearing this, Su Jiao had an expression that suggested she wasn't surprised. Gu Cheng, stop being so sarcastic. Aren't you just using your resignation to pressure me into giving you a promotion and raise? Fine. After you handle all the backlog of work Luja has accumulated over these 3 months, I might consider giving you a 500 yuan raise. I couldn't help but laugh coldly. 500 yuan. I can't believe she had the nerve to say that. I've been slaving away for Su Jiao for 6 years, yet my salary is only 5,000 yuan. Meanwhile, new hires who joined during the same period all have a base salary of over 6,000. Moreover, my abilities aren't lacking. If I were to change jobs, doubling or tripling my salary wouldn't be an issue. Thinking about it now, it really wasn't worth it. Wasting 6 years of opportunity to strive for something better because of so-called feelings. And now she still wants me to clean up after Luja? In her dreams. I had just begun to refuse when a flash of resentment appeared in Luja's eyes, but he still pretended to be considerate and said, It's all right, Director Su. I'll handle it myself. Business is business. This is my job after all. Brother Gu Cheng is already working so hard, we can't burden him further. Su Jiao immediately stopped Luja and publicly scolded him with a cold expression. What hardship has he endured? Luja, you and I have been busy finding inspiration for the competition all this time. Unlike him, who just sits in the office collecting a salary while doing nothing, producing designs completely lacking originality. I think he's simply run out of creativity, and that's why he's jealous of your abilities. If he wants to leave, let him go. Looking at her angry, embarrassed expression, I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. After 6 years together, I know Su Jiao well. The more guilty she feels, the more she uses anger to change the subject. In the past, no matter how much Luja tried to provoke tension, Su Jiao would never publicly lose her temper and belittle me like this. The fact that she showed such hostility toward me as soon as she came to the company clearly indicates there's another reason. Regaining my composure, I looked at her visibly pregnant belly and immediately understood the reason. She thought she could hide her pregnancy from me, but what she didn't know was that Luja had already privately bragged to me about his achievement. I just couldn't be bothered to expose her. Seeing me lower my head in silence, Su Jiao thought she had me under control. She cleared her throat lightly, pulled me into the office, and comforted me in a gentle voice. Gu Cheng, don't be jealous. My firing you is just for show. In the future, won't the company and I both be yours? By the way, how are the wedding preparations coming along? I have good news for you. Wasn't your family always worried about my fear of marriage and childbearing? I've overcome my psychological barriers and can give you a chubby baby boy anytime. Su Jiao always manipulated me this way. If I hadn't known that it was Luja's child, I probably would have happily embraced her. However, I didn't expose her. Instead, I took out the wedding invitation and said calmly, The wedding date remains unchanged. Everything is almost arranged. Su Jiao thought I was still in the dark, sighed with relief, and said smugly, That's good. You can take care of the wedding preparations. After the baby is born, I'll hand the company over to you and stay home to be a good wife and mother. But I didn't respond, just silently opened the wedding invitation and coldly smiled at the names on it. She didn't know yet that while the wedding would proceed as scheduled, I had already chosen a different bride. The bride's name on the invitation wasn't Su Jiao. It was my childhood sweetheart, Shen Wanqing. Su Jiao always thought I had no other options besides her, which is why she remained so arrogant, thinking she had me wrapped around her finger. But what she didn't know was that I always had my own intended spouse. And she was a genuine heiress. The Shen family and my family are old friends. Shen Wanqing and I grew up together as childhood sweethearts, and our families had arranged our marriage since we were young. It's just that during college, she chose to study abroad, and I unexpectedly met Su Jiao and became involved with her. For years, I kept putting off marriage, believing Su Jiao was my destined one, which caused great tension with my family. But now I see that I was blind and gave my heart to the wrong person. When my family and I explained everything to the Shin family, Shin Wanqing wasn't bothered at all. Instead, she immediately agreed to marry me. I was moved by Shin Wanqing and vowed then to make her happy. Su Jiayao, I have something important to tell you. Just as I was about to break up with Su Jiayao, sudden shouting came from outside the door. Director Lu, why did you faint? Upon hearing that Lu Zhe was in trouble, Su Jiayao immediately rushed outside, helped Lu Zhe up, and took out a spray bottle from her bag. Lu Zhe, are you feeling better? I'll take you to the hospital right away. Seeing this, Lu Zhe first gave me a smug glance, then pretended to clutch his chest, saying, It's fine, I probably just got tired from the competition, which triggered my asthma again. Even though Lu Zhe was completely fine, Su Jiayao was still worried and immediately approved his leave, insisting on taking him to the hospital to recover. Indeed, whenever it came to choosing between me and Lu Zhe, Su Jiayao would always choose him. She couldn't even remember that I had heart disease and couldn't work overtime, yet she remembered to always carry medication for Lu Zhe, and even insisted on taking him to the hospital for treatment when nothing serious had happened, afraid of neglecting something. But when I previously had heart pain, she said I was faking illness and just didn't want to work overtime. I shook my head and planned to leave this troublesome place. But just as I reached the company entrance, waiting for the bus, I saw Su Jiayao driving past with Lu Zhe. It was the latest top-of-the-line SU-7 Ultra. I had used my savings of many years for the down payment and even personally selected the license plate. But now, the car was covered with decals of the anime characters Lu Zhe liked, having been commandeered by Su Jiayao to become Lu Zhe's championship gift. I couldn't help but smile sarcastically. For the past 6 years, rain or shine, typhoon or storm, I've taken the bus to work without fail. I've mentioned to Jiayao Su about wanting to buy a used car for commuting, as it would be more convenient for both daily work and business trips. But she accused me of being vain, telling me not to compare myself with others and to focus on my own business. Yet every year when returning home for the holidays, I had to scramble for tickets. When friends and relatives learned I still didn't own a car, they would question me repeatedly. Even though I explained that my workplace wasn't far and driving would be wasteful, seeing everyone else with their own cars still made me feel somewhat sad. So, on my 30th birthday, I gathered my courage and ordered a car for myself. But when Jiayao Su found out, she smashed my phone without a second thought. She accused me of spending money recklessly without her consent, called me vain and materialistic, then forcibly took the car away claiming it was for official use. I never expected it would end up becoming Jalou's exclusive toy car. If I were truly vain and materialistic, I would have broken up with her long ago, married an heiress, moved into a mansion, and driven a Maybach. Why continue to endure the cold shoulders at work, being talked about as a pushover behind my back, or even pinching pennies from marriage savings, not even daring to buy a pack of cigarettes? I snapped back to reality, this time not taking the bus, no longer forcing myself to save money, and splurged on a taxi after a long time. I planned to go home and pack up all of Jiayao Su's things, to avoid complications after breaking up. Soon, I arrived at my front door. This was a small apartment my parents bought during their earlier working years. Later, when they learned I would be helping Jiayao Su start her business, they left the keys with me. Back then, to help her reduce expenses, we moved in together, at least eliminating the worry about high rent. But Jiayao Su never appreciated my kindness, instead often complaining about why I hadn't bought a bigger place, claiming she had nowhere to hang her clothes. I expertly entered the password to open the door, but the password lock suddenly turned red, emitting a piercing beeping sound. How could I not get in? Just as I was confused, the door opened from inside. The next moment, I was stunned looking at the situation inside, because I didn't recognize the person who appeared inside at all. Not only were all my things gone, but even the arrangement of the home had completely changed its appearance. After asking, I learned that Su Jiayao had actually rented my house to Lu Zhe's relatives without my consent. She herself had rented another villa elsewhere with Lu Zhe. Hand on heart, since being with Su Jiayao, I had kept nothing from her, given her everything of mine, and hadn't asked her for a penny in rent in 6 years. But while I treated her with sincerity, Su Jiayao just saw me as a freebie she picked up. Looking at my unrecognizable home, I called the police directly, showed them my property deed, said the contract was invalid, and only then got rid of the tenants. I had just closed the door when Su Jiayao immediately called. Gu Chang, did you go to the apartment and cause trouble, driving away the tenants? I didn't plan to hide it and directly admitted it. Su Jiayao was stunned for a moment on the other end of the phone, then immediately started yelling. What right do you have to drive away the tenants I found? Do you know how much money I'll have to compensate? How could you make such a big decision on your own without discussing it with me? But I felt speechless. This has always been the house my parents left to me. Do I need your permission for what I want to do with it? Perhaps because it had been a long time since she heard me in. OT being compliant, Su Jiayao was first stunned, then said with a sobbing voice. Gucheng, you've changed. You clearly said before that you would listen to me no matter what. I don't deny that I've changed, but the person who changed first was Su Jiayao. Before she started her business, she wasn't so nitpicky and full of calculations. Back then, even when we only had a few hundred yuan left in our pockets, so poor that we could only eat instant noodles with fried eggs at home on Valentine's Day, she still smiled sweetly. Even when she started her business and her temper became increasingly strange, I thought we would eventually be family. And at that time, during the early stages of her startup, Su Jiayao was indeed under a lot of pressure, which is why I went along with everything she said. As a result, when the company grew larger, Su Jiayao changed, especially after hiring Lu Jia. She became increasingly demanding. Now that I no longer plan to marry her, there's naturally no need to continue accommodating and compromising. Thinking of this, I directly questioned her. Su Jiayao, isn't the person who changed first actually you? Why don't you talk about all these years, how much rent I've saved you, how many orders I've brought in, how much money you've made? What right do you have to accuse me? Hearing this, there was a pause on the other end of the phone, followed by a roar. You actually want me to pay rent? Gucheng, I think you've really fallen into the money pit. Let me tell you, this tenant is Lu Jia's relative. How do you expect Lu Jia to face his friends and relatives now? You need to vacate the house and bring those people back immediately, otherwise we'll have to break up. This was Su Jiayao's infallible tactic that had worked without fail for 6 years. Before, I was focused on getting married, believing that no couple exists without arguments, and everyone needs time to adjust to each other, so I tolerated everything. But after reconnecting and spending time with Shen Wanqing, I finally realized what a miserable and suppressed life I had been living. Thinking of this, I nodded directly and said, "Fine, then let's break up." On the other end of the phone, Su Jiayao suddenly fell silent. After a while, she finally said through gritted teeth, "You're willing to break up with me just over some rent? In your heart, is some shabby apartment more important, or am I?" Before I could speak, Lu Jia's voice suddenly appeared on the other end of the phone. "Sister Jiayao, why don't we just forget about it? I'll figure something out myself. After all, you and Gucheng are already engaged, and even the wedding is all set up. You can't cancel everything just because of me." Su Jiayao let out a cold snort, saying triumphantly, as if he would dare cancel the wedding. "The invitations have already been sent out. If he really canceled it, I'd like to see how he could show his face in public." The call hadn't been disconnected. I knew that Lu Jiayao deliberately said this for me to hear. Lu Jiayao thought I wouldn't really break up with her and cancel the wedding. But what she didn't know was that while I hadn't canceled the wedding, I had already replaced the bride. I wonder what expression will be on her face when I hold my wedding ceremony with someone else. In the days that followed, Lu Jiayao and I didn't contact each other. But as the wedding date drew closer, updates about Lu Jia on Lu Jiayao's social media obviously became more and more frequent. She was practically posting 800 times a day, letting me know what she and Lu Jia had been doing. I knew she was trying to make me jealous, to provoke me, to make me admit I was wrong and win her back. After all, as the days went by, her belly was gradually getting bigger, and soon she wouldn't be able to hide it anymore. This is a critical moment for the company's IPO. If such a scandal were to break out, the results of her 6 years of hard work would be ruined instantly. Unfortunately, I was busy rehearsing the wedding with Shen Wanqing and had no time to pay any attention to her. Soon, the wedding day arrived. I had just arrived at the hotel in the wedding car when I saw Su Jiayao and Lu Jia blocking the entrance from a distance. As soon as they saw me, Lu Jia put on an excited expression and shook Su Jiayao's shoulder. "Sister Jiayao, look, brother Gucheng still loves you. He came to marry you after all." Hearing this, Su Jiayao's lips curled upward, clearly quite pleased, but she still folded her arms and coldly snorted. "Don't think that just because you showed up on time I'll forgive you so easily. You still haven't apologized for what happened with Lu Jia." Before I could speak, Lu Jia hypocritically advised, "Sister Jiayao, brother Gucheng came all this way. He must know he was wrong. Look, brother Gucheng even has a big diamond ring prepared. It looks like it's about 6 carats, which happens to match the number of years you've been together. Why don't you give him another chance?" Looking at the diamond ring in my hand, Su Jiayao immediately became elated. "Considering how thoughtful you're being, I suppose I could give you another chance. Here's the deal. If you truly want to marry me, transfer your house to me, and then move out so Lu Jia's relatives can have it. Otherwise, I won't go in today, and let's see how you handle all the guests in the entire banquet hall." I was suddenly speechless. 6 carats was because Shen Wanqing liked that number. It was just for good luck, but Su Jiayao was really giving herself too much credit. Just as I was about to explain, a gentle female voice came from the back of the wedding car. "Gucheng, is something wrong?" Hearing this, I immediately opened the back door and helped Shen Wanqing, dressed in her wedding gown, step out and smiled gently. "It's nothing, just ran into a crazy person. Let's go, wife. The auspicious time is almost here, and everyone is waiting for us inside." Su Jiao was completely stunned, standing there like a wooden post, her eyeballs nearly popping out as she stared intently at Shen Wanqing. Who is she? Why is she wearing the wedding dress you designed for me? Indeed, that was the style I had finally settled on after searching through countless design sketches and staying up for many late nights. From the design draft to the material selection to the stitch-by-stitch sewing, everything was personally handled by me. Every detail was infused with my countless hours of dedication. However, since I decided to be with Shen Wanqing, this wedding dress became hers. I found the best tailor and had the wedding dress meticulously altered according to Shen Wanqing's measurements. Now, it perfectly complemented Shen Wanqing's elegance, making her as beautiful as a fairy. And Su Jiao could only stand there like a clown, staring helplessly. On the side, Luge's eyes rolled slyly, and he pretended to advise with false sincerity. Sister Jiao, Brother Gucheng must be joking with you. He definitely still has feelings for you. Otherwise, why would he prepare such a grand wedding? Look, on this joyous day, he couldn't just find some random woman to make you angry. Sister Jiao, quickly explain to Brother Gucheng that those things you posted on social media before were just to make him jealous, just an act for him to see. Don't miss the auspicious time because of this. Su Jiao immediately believed Luge's words, and her face resumed that superior expression. She looked at me smugly, as if everything was under her control. Gucheng, do you think you can provoke me by bringing some random woman here? Let me tell you, not a chance. If you don't agree to the conditions I mentioned earlier, I absolutely refuse to go in and marry you today. As she spoke, Su Jiao pulled out a bank card from her purse and slapped it down in front of Shen Wanqing with a loud thwack. The gesture was as arrogant as could be. There's 500,000 in here, definitely much more than Gucheng gave you. Take the money and get lost. Stop getting in the way of the important matter between Gucheng and me. Looking at Su Jiao's self-important demeanor, I couldn't help but laugh coldly inside. 500,000. She really thought she was some big shot? She clearly had no idea that money was the last thing Shen Wanqing lacked. The Shen family was truly elite. Their businesses spanned across the country, covering various industries. Shen Wanqing's monthly allowance alone was several times higher than the annual profit of Su Jiao's pathetic little company. Su Jiao actually, though. She could buy off Shen Wanqing with 500,000? It was absolutely ridiculous. I could even imagine what expression would be on Su Jiao's face next when she learns that this is the daughter of the Shen family, the client her company depends on for survival. Sure enough, in the next moment, Shen Wanqing gently picked up that bank card. Seeing this, Su Jiao became even more smug. She turned her head and began mocking me. Gucheng, do you see that? What kind of people have you brought here? Indeed, just a money-grabbing little actress. Can't even act well. Truly has no professional ethics. This kind of trash wants to compete with me? It's absolutely laughable. Shen Wanqing didn't pay attention to Su Jiao's sarcasm. She just spoke calmly, with a hint of displeasure in her tone. Miss, aren't you being too disrespectful? You didn't even ask for Gucheng's opinion before making decisions for him? Aren't you being a bit too presumptuous? After being addressed like this by Shen Wanqing, Su Jiao's arrogance became even more intense. She glanced disdainfully at Shen Wanqing and said with bitter sarcasm, "Who do you think you are? What right do you have to interfere in matters between Gucheng and me? I am one of the most prestigious female CEOs. Take your money and get out of here. Stop embarrassing yourself." Just then, there was a crisp crack sound. Shen Wanqing, with an expressionless face, snapped the bank card in her hand directly in half. Her movement was clean and decisive, without a hint of hesitation. After doing this, Shen Wanqing raised her head, fixed her gaze firmly on Su Jiao, and said coldly, "Have you heard of the Shen family?" Su Jiao was stunned, standing there frozen as if struck by lightning. The Shen family? Upon hearing this, Luge showed a look of contempt and sneered. "Little girl, you're not going to tell us that you're the distinguished young lady from the Shen family of Jiangdong, are you?" He looked Shen Wanqing up and down, his eyes full of disdain and mockery. Let's not even mention that this place is tens of thousands of miles away from Jiangdong, with absolutely no connection whatsoever. Besides, I've heard that the young lady of the Shen family has been studying abroad for many years and hasn't even returned yet. If you're going to impersonate someone, at least do your homework and understand the situation first. You can't even tell a believable lie. It's truly laughable. After Luge finished speaking, he raised his eyebrows proudly, with an expression that said, "I've seen right through you." Su Jiao heard Luge's words and came back to her senses. She turned to look at me, her eyes full of disappointment and contempt. "Gucheng, is this the woman you brought? Seems your judgment of people is still as poor as ever. You actually, bro, ought a liar full of falsehoods to fool me. Even pretending to be the young lady of the Shen family. How utterly ridiculous." Su Jiao's tone was sharp and cutting, as if I were an unforgivable criminal. I was completely speechless inside. This woman, what on earth was in her head? Paste. Note. This appears to be a rhetorical question expressing disbelief. I told her about Shen Wanqing's identity long ago. On the wedding invitation, in black and white, it was written clearly. I sent out wedding invitations so long ago. If she had paid even the slightest attention and opened it to look, she would have known that Shen Wanqing wasn't lying at all. Not to mention, I've known Shen Wanqing for so long. Her demeanor, her way of speaking, her knowledge, which part of her resembles a girl from an ordinary family. Yet Lu Jiao naively thought that Shen Wanqing was impersonating. This intelligence level is practically negative. However, I can't be bothered to explain to her. Wasting words on such a self-righteous, unreasonable woman is simply a waste of time. I directly grabbed Shen Wanqing's hand, about to walk into the hotel. Let's go, Wanqing, let's go in. When Lu Jiao saw I was leaving, she immediately became anxious. She rushed forward in one quick step, spreading her arms, firmly blocking our way. Gucheng, you cannot go in. She was like a ruffled mother hen, her voice sharp and piercing. Are you feeling guilty? Are you afraid that after I go in, I'll expose your lies? Don't I understand you well enough? You must be planning something again, going inside and then lying, saying you've got some incurable disease, or suddenly had some accident, basically just trying to cancel the wedding at the last minute. The more Lu Jiao spoke, the more agitated she became, as if she had already seen through everything. Let me tell you, Gucheng, you won't fool me today. Unless. She paused, her gaze turning vicious. Unless you take out the property deed right now and put my name on it. Otherwise, no matter who comes, I won't let you go inside. Lu Jiao had a look of having me cornered, as if I had already become her possession. I was almost laughing from anger at this crazy woman. What era is this? She still thinks she's an ancient emperor who can cover the sky with one hand? Property deed? How about she reaches for the sky while she's at it? I took a deep breath, trying hard to suppress the anger in my heart. I was just about to take out my phone to call the police and have them deal with this unreasonable, crazy woman. Just then, a voice suddenly came from behind. You're here? I turned around and saw the hotel manager running over. His face was full of smiles, bowing and nodding. That respectful manner was just like an ancient eunuch meeting the emperor. The manager ran up to Shen Wanqing, his eyes brightened, and his voice trembled with excitement. Miss Shen, why didn't you let us know in advance that you were coming? I could have arranged someone to pick you up. As the manager spoke, he made an attentive, please, gesture with his hand. His attitude was respectful to the extreme. Su Jiao was completely stunned, standing there frozen like someone had pressed a pause button. Manager, what did you just call her? The manager wore an expression that said, what backwater did you come from? His eyebrows nearly knitted together. He looked at Su Jiao with eyes that seemed to be regarding an idiot, his tone filled with undisguised contempt. Of course it's Miss Shen. Do you even need to ask? Don't tell me you don't recognize Miss Shen. As the manager spoke, he turned his head toward Shen Wanqing, his face immediately covered with a fawning smile, changing expressions faster than turning pages of a book. Slightly hunched, his tone was the epitome of respect and enthusiasm. Miss Shen, you may not know this, but you're the pride of Jiangdong. At such a young age, you're already an internationally renowned designer. Every piece you've designed has stunned the entire fashion world. You are simply Jiangdong's legend, everyone's idol. Meeting you here is truly my honor. What incredible good fortune. While speaking, the manager couldn't help secretly glancing at Su Jiao with the corner of his eye. But as Su Jiao listened to the manager's flattery of Shen Wanqing, she was on the verge of breaking down. She couldn't believe her own ears. How could someone who only existed in legends appear here? And even marry a worthless person like me? Su Jiao shook her head desperately, as if trying to shake all those chaotic thoughts out of her mind. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself down, then said to the manager in a tone she thought was clever. Manager, you must be mistaken. How could someone like Miss Shen possibly know Gucheng? She's a high-class swan, and Gucheng? He's just a toad in a filthy ditch. The two of them are simply not from the same world. You must have been deceived by Gucheng. He must have paid this woman to impersonate Miss Shen to trick me. The more Su Jiao spoke, the more convinced she became of her own logic, and her eyes grew increasingly resolute. She even created an elaborate mental scenario of Gucheng spending a fortune to hire an actress for revenge, like something from a melodrama. After hearing Su Jiao's words, the manager was utterly speechless. He felt as though he was trying to communicate with someone intellectually challenged, making conversation completely impossible. Taking a deep breath and restraining the urge to curse, he looked at Su Jiao with contempt and said coldly, Madam, mind your words. Are you in any position to question Miss Shen's identity? I suggest you leave immediately before you further embarrass yourself. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. After speaking, The manager waved his hand and summoned several security guards. Escort these two people out. From now on, they are forbidden from setting foot in this hotel. The manager's voice was icy and authoritative, brooking no argument. Several security guards immediately surrounded them menacingly, and without saying another word, they grabbed Su Jiayao and Lu Jia and started dragging them out. Su Jiayao had never encountered such a situation before and was instantly frightened, her face pale with fear as she screamed repeatedly. "What are you doing? Let me go! Let me go!" Lu Jia was also scared pale, struggling while shouting loudly. "You can't do this. I'm with CEO Su. Offending CEO Su will make you suffer the consequences." Unfortunately, his threats had absolutely no effect. Compared to the Shin family, Su Jiao's company was nothing. The security guards completely ignored his outcries and threw them out of the hotel like trash. Su Jiao was thrown to the ground, landing face first in an utterly humiliating position. She raised her head, looking at the hotel's magnificent entrance, her eyes filled with shock and resentment. Shun Wanqing is actually really the Shun family's young lady. How is this possible? She couldn't understand how things had turned out this way. Su Jiao stood there in a daze, her mind completely blank. After a long while, she finally came to her senses and suddenly turned to look at Shun Wanqing, her eyes filled with hatred and confusion. She asked through gritted teeth, "Miss Shun, why are you helping that useless Gu Cheng? What benefit did he offer you that makes you willingly cooperate in this charade? Or perhaps, does he have some leverage over you? Are you being threatened by him? Tell me, I'll help you." Su Jiao believed that Shin Wanqing must have been coerced by me to act this way. Otherwise, given her status, how could she possibly be interested in a man like me? But looking at Su Jiao's hysterical state, Shin Wanqing shook her head helplessly. "Su Jiao, you're really overthinking this. I'm with Gu Cheng because I love him. We are truly in love." Su Jiao was absolutely furious after hearing Shin Wanqing's words. She didn't believe a word Shin Wanqing said, shrieking in denial. "Impossible. You're lying. No matter how good your family background is, he would only ever love me." Shin Wanqing looked at Su Jiao's crazed appearance and felt utterly speechless. She didn't bother wasting more words with Su Jiao and directly took out a wedding invitation from her bag, throwing it in front of Su Jiao. "See for yourself." Su Jiao was stunned for a moment, instinctively picking up the wedding invitation from the floor. But Then she saw the two gold-embossed names on the invitation, Gu Cheng and Shun Wanqing. Her body suddenly trembled. "This is impossible." Su Jiao's voice became distorted as she stared fixedly at the wedding invitation. "You two are really getting married? Gu Cheng, you actually went behind my back and secretly got the marriage certificate with her? And even changed your name? You're too much." Su Jiao's eyes quickly reddened, tears welling up, looking as if she had suffered a great injustice. I was utterly speechless. Was this woman a graduate of the Drama Queen Academy? What a waste that she didn't become an actress. I took a deep breath, struggling to suppress the urge to roll my eyes, and said coldly, "I sent you the wedding invitation long ago, but you didn't look at it and presumed I was going to marry you. Now you come here making a scene. If you don't feel embarrassed, I feel embarrassed for you." My words were merciless, turning Su Jiao's face green. Su Jiao wanted to say something more, but was interrupted by Lu Jia beside her. This guy Lu Jia had been watching the show from the sidelines, and now seeing Su Jiao at a disadvantage, he immediately jumped out to play the knight in shining armor. He looked at Su Jiao with a face full of concern and said gently, "Jiao, don't be angry. It's not worth getting upset over someone like this." Then, he turned his head to look at me, putting on an expression of deep disappointment. "Gu Cheng, I really misjudged you. You and Jiao have had feelings for each other for so many years. Are you really going to ruin everything just because of a house? How can you be so cold-hearted and ruthless? If it were me, just to marry Jiao, I would willingly lose everything I own, let alone give up one house." Lu Jia spoke with such deep emotion, but I almost couldn't help laughing. This guy really knows how to insert himself into the drama. I sneered and shot back. "Since you're so devoted, why don't you just marry Su Jiao yourself? Why waste your breath talking to me?" My words left Lu Jia completely speechless. His mouth opened and closed, wanting to say something, but not knowing what to say. After all, he only wanted to put on a show in front of Su Jiao. He never actually thought about marrying her. Seeing that Lu Jia had fallen silent, I didn't want to get entangled with them any longer, so I turned to leave. But Su Jiao refused to let me go. She grabbed my arm, and tears finally streamed down her face. Crystal-clear teardrops slid down her fair cheeks, making her look pitiful and vulnerable. "Gu Cheng, don't go. I know I was wrong before. I was being temperamental with you. Let's not fight anymore, okay? Let's continue with our wedding, okay?" Su Jiao's voice choked with emotion, carrying a hint of pleading. In the past, seeing Su Jiao like this, I would have definitely softened. After all, I once loved her so much that I was willing to give everything for her. But now, I only felt disgusted. These tears were nothing but crocodile tears. I mercilessly shook off her hand and said coldly, Su Jiao, stop putting on an act. Between us, it's been over for a long time. I will not continue with any wedding with you. You might as well give up on that idea. My tone was resolute, leaving no room for negotiation. I ignored her, took Xin Wanqing's hand, and walked straight into the hotel. Once inside, we began following the wedding procedure, preparing for each item one by one. The master of ceremonies enthusiastically delivered the opening remarks on stage, while guests took their seats, waiting for the wedding to begin. Everything was proceeding smoothly, until the moment of our vows. Just as I was about to say, I do, a sharp cry came from outside. No, I object. For a moment, everyone was stunned, turning their heads toward the door. I looked over too, and saw Su Jiao standing there, with swollen red eyes, disheveled hair, looking completely distraught. She had actually followed us here again. I frowned deeply, feeling a strong wave of annoyance rising within me. This woman, she really is like a lingering ghost. Su Jiao ignored everyone's stares and rushed directly onto the stage. She pushed the officiant aside and stood between me and Xin Wanqing. Pointing at my nose, she sobbed while accusing me. Gu Cheng, you heartless man. We were together for 6 years. I gave you the best years of my youth. You spent my money, lived in my house, and even had me work as your free designer. In the end, you abandoned me for a woman you've known for barely a few months. You're worse than an animal. Su Jiao's words were spoken with such intensity, as if she had suffered the greatest injustice. Immediately, the guests below the stage began discussing among themselves. I never would have guessed. This Gu Cheng always seems so honest, but he's actually a scumbag who abandons women. Exactly, you really can't judge a book by its cover. Poor girl, being deceived by him for 6 years. Hearing these comments, I felt a massive headache coming on. This Su Jiao, she really knows how to turn black into white. She's been the one exploiting me all along, yet now she turns around and claims I bullied her. It's utterly ridiculous. Lu Zhou also seized the opportunity to jump out and add fuel to the fire. With a pained and indignant expression, he said, Gu Cheng, you've really disappointed me. Jiao was so good to you, and you treat her like this. You always asked me to help take care of Jiao, saying she was too naive and could easily be deceived, but you're the real deceiver. You're a complete and utter SCU. Back. Lu Zhou's words made the accusations from the guests below grow even louder. I was nearly laughing from anger. These people, knowing nothing, convicted me based on just a few words from Su Jiao and Lu Zhou. I directly had the staff project Su Jiao and Lu Zhou's social media feeds onto the big screen. Those social media posts recorded how Su Jiao and Lu Zhou had been scheming against me, how they treated me as a cash cow, and how they flaunted their affection in front of me. See for yourselves who's lying. In an instant, everyone was dumbfounded. They never imagined the truth would be like this. The guest discussions immediately shifted direction, beginning to verbally attack Su Jiao. Su Jiao's face alternated between green and white. She never thought I would have kept so much evidence. Looking at Su Jiao's miserable state, I felt not an ounce of sympathy. All of this was her own doing. Just as I was about to have security escort Su Jiao out, she suddenly shouted, No, you can't make me leave. As she spoke, she pulled out a pregnancy test report from her bag and held it up high. Because I'm pregnant. With your child, Su Jiao screamed desperately, as if clutching at her last lifeline. This sudden turn of events caused an immediate uproar throughout the venue. The guests huddled together, whispering among themselves. Some were shocked, some were skeptical, and others took malicious pleasure in the situation. The atmosphere at the wedding instantly froze. Xin Wanqing's expression changed as well. She gripped my hand tightly, and I could feel her tension. I looked at Su Jiao in the distance and couldn't help but frown. This woman truly wouldn't give up until the bitter end. From afar, Su Jiao looked at me smugly, her eyes gleaming with calculation. Gu Cheng, as long as you give me some money, I'll get rid of the baby. Since you're with the Xin family now, handing over 30 million as child support shouldn't be difficult for you, right? Her tone was flippant, as if discussing something trivial. I looked at her, feeling disgusted. She was actually using the child as leverage to blackmail me. How utterly despicable. I took a deep breath, suppressing the anger within me. Su Jiao, do you think I would believe your lies? I took a document envelope from Xin Wanqing's hand and tossed it in front of Su Jiao. See for yourself. Su Jiao opened the envelope with confusion, her face instantly turning pale. Inside was a paternity test report, clearly showing that the child wasn't mine, but Lu Zhou's. She panicked, her eyes darting around, looking to escape. I had anticipated this move from her and called the police in advance. The police are here. Just as I finished speaking, several police officers rushed in and detained Su Jiao. Lu Jia, seeing the situation turn against him, suddenly pushed Su Jiao down and tried to escape into chaos. Su Jiao fell to the ground, blood flowing down her legs. My child. Lu Jia, why? Why are you abandoning me? She wailed in agony, her eyes filled with despair and resentment. Unfortunately, Lu Jia would not answer her, as he had already fled without a trace. And I, watching her now isolated predicament from a distance, felt not even a hint of compassion. After all, everything that had happened was entirely of her own making. Later, Lu Jia, who had been fleeing from justice, was finally captured at the train station and sentenced to 10 years for multiple crimes. As for Su Jiao, due to the miscarriage and Lu Jia's betrayal, her mental state completely collapsed, and she became insane, eventually being released on medical parole. This farce finally came to an end. Meanwhile, Shen Wanqing and I held our wedding ceremony again, surrounded by the blessings of family and friends. And after marriage, we quickly had our own child. Looking at our baby sleeping peacefully in the cradle, my heart was filled with emotion. After weathering so many storms, I had finally found my own happiness. And for all this, I had Shen Wanqing to thank. It was she who helped me understand what true love really means. I held her tight and whispered in her ear, "Wanqing, thank you." She smiled gently and hugged me back. "Silly, why are you thanking me? We're husband and wife." Sunlight streamed through the window, shining upon